There is another way to change the dimension of your canvas on your Photoshop file without using the crop tool, and that is to go into Image and then Image Size, and the hotkey for that is Alt-Control-I. And we can see here the width of the canvas right now is 961 pixels by 789 pixels. And just look down here for a second. If your constraint proportion is checked, then you should see a little chain link guy over here. And what that does basically is it keeps the proportion of the canvas that you have right now. So when I move the width, and this is a fun way to do it, you just hover over, there's like a little finger guy, and then you can pull him, and it'll change the height as well. So because I have my constrained proportions on, it'll do that, and say I click OK, and now we have our new proportion. So this time I'm going to go back in and click Control-Alt-I to pop up the window. And another thing we can see here is the size of the canvas as it is right now. So the output of this Photoshop file will be 1 megabyte. If you're working with really big files, like say, 3000 width or something, say you're making something really big, you're going to have a higher weight to your files at the end of the day, and it'll tell you what the older version was, 1.72. So I don't really want to make something that big right now, so we're just going to put it back. And what we could do also is unclick the constraint proportions selector, and we can move the height. Let's say we wanted to make a square, and now they move independently of each other. They don't need to be constrained by the proportions. And here document size basically gives you the same dimensions here but in inches. So now you know if you're making something for print, you can I believe the width is 8.5 and the height is 11. And remember here too, we can change the resolution, and because say I'm making a page, I'll change the resolution to 300. And as you can see up here, I didn't change the size at all, but I changed the resolution, and the file grew quite a bit larger. So I'll just put it back to show you. See, 72. The output is 1.39 megabytes, and now with 300 it is 24 megabytes, and that is because the way that pixels per inch works is, say you have an inch square, just whatever, of nothing, there will be 300 pixels in that inch on your page, and this is for printing where you probably have like a big page that you're working with, or you're working with a lot of color, so it needs to fill the spaces in between in that inch completely. But with web, the highest resolution that you can get is 72, so there will be 72 pixels in that inch for every inch that's on your page. So keep that in mind when you are setting up your files. It's really easy to go back and forth, but if you start with a high resolution file and you go to a smaller resolution, the way that a JPEG image works is it will be a worse quality image. You will lose quality. The pixels might not be as sharp. I'm sure you've seen it before, a kind of, it's got like little squares on the side, and that's because the resolution is lower. So try not to mess with the resolution too much if you're using a big image, or if you want to print out a picture of a photo that you took. Try to keep the resolution high, otherwise you may have some issues when you go to print it out later. But if you're just using web, then go ahead and use 72 for your resolution. And I'm going to hit OK, and now we have our new dimensions.